light and crisp dessert item. They're a perfect on-the-go snack because they're held at room temperature and can be taken to school lunches. For this recipe, the ingredients I'll need are egg whites, which I'll whip to a firm peak, coconut oil, Jell-O sugar-free gelatin powder, and Hershey's sugar-free strawberry syrup. The first step I need to take for this recipe is to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. Now I'm going to show you how to whip the egg whites to firm peak. I'll be adding 1/8 teaspoon of cream of tartar. This helps the egg whites stay firm during the whipping process. I'll be using a handheld mixer on about a speed 2, which is a medium speed. Okay, so they should be solid, and you should be able to lift it out of the bowl and scoop it, just like that. Now that I've whipped the egg whites, I'm going to melt the coconut oil to a liquid consistency. Now that the coconut oil is fully melted, I'll mix together the ingredients. I need to weigh my egg whites, so I place a bowl on the scale and zero it out. Keep in mind that as the egg white sits, it'll actually start to lose the air that we just whipped inside of it. So you may see that on the bottom of it, you'll see that the egg whites are starting to return to normal, which you don't necessarily want to happen. However, if it does happen, it won't drastically change the recipe. Now that I've weighed the egg whites, I'm going to mix together all of my ingredients. We have our egg whites, coconut oil. I don't really recommend switching the coconut oil for other fats. If you were to substitute the coconut oil for another fat, I would maybe say butter. I wouldn't say use oil, definitely not. When you bake any type of fat that doesn't have milk solids inside of it, it'll start to leak out in the oven, which you would notice, especially if you used oil. Now I'm going to add the Jell-O sugar-free gelatin powder and the strawberry syrup. If you wanted to use a different carbohydrate than the strawberry syrup, you could also use fresh fruit such as minced raspberries, strawberries, or other fruits. You can also use a crunchy carbohydrate, maybe Rice Krispies or Cheerios as well. Now I'm going to mix together the ingredients. I will now begin piping the meringues onto the parchment paper covered baking sheet. In this process, I'm going to use a Ziploc bag, and this will serve as my piping bag. The most important thing to remember in this process right now is you need to make sure that all of the mixture gets to the corner of the bag. And you don't really want to get any up at the top or on the other sides just because you don't want to lose any ingredients during this. To get it off the spatula, it's easiest if you pinch it through the inside of the bag. You want to try to squeeze all of the ingredients into the corner. You want to cut a small hole in the end of the bag. Keep in mind, the larger that you make it, the more it will be able to squeeze all over, so you don't want that to happen. You just want a tiny hole. And now you can pipe any shape. I'm going to pipe hearts. Also keep in mind that if your coconut oil is not fully melted, or if you haven't thoroughly mixed all of your ingredients, there's a high chance that it'll get stuck in the small hole that you did cut. So if that does happen, you can either start to squeeze it out with your fingers or just cut the hole slightly bigger. If you find that piping them into shapes is too time consuming, you can also make them into larger cookies if you wanted to turn them into cookies, or you can make one big cookie and then cut it individually into squares or any shape that you'd like. Okay, now that I've piped the heart-shaped meringues, I'm going to place them in the oven for about 15 minutes. However, you should check on them because all ovens are different. One might be hotter than the other, so make sure that you do keep an eye on it. The raspberry meringues are all finished. As you can see, they started to puff up slightly in the oven, and they do have a golden brown edge, which signifies that they're all finished. You're going to carefully remove them from the baking sheet. And that's all. I hope your Keto Kid enjoys this recipe.
You can create colorful meringues for your Keto Kid by using different flavors of sugar-free Jell-O powder. Keep in mind that when adjusting this recipe for your child's ketogenic diet plan, the amount of coconut oil should be no more than 2/3 the amount of egg whites.